Welcome to Presentations with Stratalogica. I have used Stratalogica for several months now with students and created several things, so I'm very familiar and excited to share this with you today. Before we start, I'd like to tell you a little bit of background about me. My dad brought home a Tandy computer when he was in college, and I just fell in love with technology. Chose to go into education. So those two bring Stratalogica together for me. It's a great learning tool that uses technology. First, we're going to start with what you're going to take away from today. I hope to show you the amazing power behind Stratalogica and how it can be used in your classroom and how vital it is for you to use. I'm also going to show you how to create presentations in custom views, but time is sometimes of the essence, and we don't have a lot of it. So there is a wonderful community of Stratalogica users out there that have created lessons and shared them. You can take those lessons, leave them as they are, or edit them so they'll fit what you need. All of these things can be saved into your gallery, which we'll also visit, so you can find easy access to all of your lessons, all of your presentations. Stratalogica, like many other platforms such as PowerPoint, Prezi, Keynote, Glogster, all the ones we use, are an excellent way for students to present their learning. Uniquely, Stratalogica provides a format of a map. Both 2D and 3D maps are available, and it is unlike any other platform that you can use for presenting information. It also offers the pre-made lessons that we have looked at and the gallery to save your work. This is a web-based program, so another wonderful thing is you can release it to students and they can't mess it up. The worst that happens is maybe you don't save it or you save it to edit later. It's a very user-friendly format, and I think you're really going to like it. So we'll start at the home screen. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, I've already logged in. If I hadn't, this would say log in. When you're creating presentations, there are some great places on that home screen that you will need. First, let's look. Sometimes we're going to need help. You'll forget things. You can always rewatch this webinar. But to go for help is this area called User Guides. It's a great place to get all the assistance you need with any feature of Stratalogica. Next, when you're ready to send presentations or assign presentations to students, this is where you'll set up your classes or simply individual students so that you can send them those documents. And also, that wonderful community is available up here on the home page. Today, we're going to go to the Explore tab. My Explore tab menu may look a little bit different than yours. It depends on what you have subscribed for. So if you click Maps, it takes us to a pulled out view of the Earth. First, I'd like you to explore the gallery. The gallery button and all of these buttons are available on any screen, which makes it very easy to access. Click Gallery. Your gallery will look different than mine, but it has some great features that I do want to point out to you. At this time, my gallery was not very full, but eventually and very quickly it filled up with lessons that I copied and created. So the Find area is very important for searching your documents. No one likes to waste time opening lessons to find the right one, especially if you save multiple ones on the same topic. You can also sort your lessons by type. If you're looking for a specific presentation, custom view, or project, you can sort those here. And you can sort by tags. Tags are very much like a folder, just something that relates to the document that you can relate to later. You can add a tag that is like a class name, such as World History, or a grade level if you teach multiple grades, a subject like or unit like habitats, even class periods, or simply what time of the year you use that lesson. Tags are there to help you organize and save valuable time. The final feature I want to show you is the Edit button. The Edit button allows you to change the title, the description, and any tags in that project or presentation. Sometimes when you save from the community, you may edit it or change it, and you may need to change the title or description so that you can better find it later. Let's look at a presentation. I have created the RMS Titanic. Select the presentation you want and click Open. The RMS Titanic was built and designed in Belfast, Ireland at the Harland and Wolff shipyard. You can see that there was already a label on this very detailed map. The slide also contains information down here. This feature is here because I selected title and description to display on the screen. This is great for teacher notes, maybe an activity you want to do with this page to remind you, for information, or instructions for the student. There's also an interactive pin here. If you click it, it pulls up a primary source document. This is a drawn map of the shipyard used in an advertisement for the Harland and Wolff company. Students could then research shipyard work conditions, make observations about the number of ships in the harbor at the time this drawing was made, or even look at the propaganda Belfast Works. The next slide in the presentation shows where the Titanic began its fateful journey in Southampton, England. The pin opens a photo of the Titanic in England. Here we could research letters from passengers before they went on the voyage, calculate the percentage of passengers who survived. 2,216 boarded the ship. The final slide shows the destination of the Titanic, or really where it lays today. My students, which I left here, actually drew in the lines showing where the ship went, made a stop in France and Ireland before it headed across the Atlantic. When they get to the pin, when they click it, it opens up a 2004 expedition down to the Titanic so they can see what it looks like today, or at least 11 years ago. Here would be a great time to look at the name of the Titanic, Unsinkable. Who truly coined this title? Well, it wasn't the ship company. They simply said that they had built the ship to be unsinkable, but they didn't say it was. So students can look how the media has affected this ship's history. Now let's go back to the gallery and open a custom view. A custom view is different than a presentation in that it's only one slide. It can be as basic or as detailed as you desired. I'm in the gallery. Now I will choose Penguins Antarctica and click Open. This view shows Antarctica. There are 3 pins. 2 include video clips and questions about the clips for students to answer. Students could then use the text tool to answer the questions right in the view, like here. Watch the video and then find out what are some types of penguins that do live here, and what are characteristics that allow them to live in this harsh environment. This is a great way for students to work independently or in groups. You could use it in a center or as an extension activity. Even a wonderful way to build background on a topic you're about to study, or use for an assessment. Here is the activity. The students will label the penguin. Once again, the students can easily answer using the text tool. If you have a stylus or a device that will allow you to write fairly neatly, writing with a mouse is not easy. You could use the drawing tool. But if you do a text box, you could drag it right over the part. of the penguin that you want to label. Or you could open a box at the bottom, as I've suggested down here, and have them just number their answers. Then the students could send their edited slides to the teacher. Now let's go to the community. We're back on the home page and we're going to select community. It is very easy to create your own presentations and custom views, but you can save a lot of time by finding presentations already made. Keep in mind you're able to edit any of the presentations. Here you see the search box to find lessons. It also shows that at the time that I screenshotted this, it was 926 lessons before I did a search. So a wealth of lessons, and it's growing every day. You can also sort by the date the slide was created. You can see Hurricanes was created on June 15, 2012. Popularity of the slide, that's going to be here. This presentation has been viewed 55 times, and 20 times it has been copied to their gallery. You can also look at the rating. This one has received 4 out of 5. You can also filter by type. If you're looking specifically for something short and quick, you may want a custom view, or if you want a more detailed lesson presentation. Map series is also a great way to filter. You may not have a subscription to every map series, so you may want to filter that out so that your views will be accurate with the presentation. I'm going to search for Columbus Day. Select search. Here you can see that I found 66 results. I can scroll down, find the presentation that I want, click the title to preview the presentation. I chose this presentation because it was all about his background and journey. You can see that it has a lot of the same information, how many times it was viewed, its popularity, and the community rating is really good on this one. It shows the date and when it was last updated. It also shows the author. You may find that you really like certain authors. They create things or seem to be on the same page with you that work in your classroom, and that is very important. You can also see that this one was created by a Nystrom education representative. You'll also find that a school name here, or a school system. If you're searching for a presentation maybe on Hurricane Katrina, you may want to look for lessons that were created around or near New Orleans so that you'll have a better view of someone who is actually there. Or it may be just a place to start. You can go through the presentation very easily by just clicking the arrows, go all the way to the end with the double arrow, all the way back to the beginning. So once you look through the presentation and discover whether it's something that you can use in your classroom, if it's not, go back and search the community. If you think someone else may really enjoy this presentation, you can always share it. I'm going to select to copy it to my gallery. Let's go to my gallery and see where it landed. Anything new or the last thing you've worked on is always going to be at the top. So you see Christopher Columbus presentation and the description. Now this presentation has no tags, so I may want to go here and add a tag. I may want to edit it to make it fit what I need in my classroom, or I may change my mind and want to delete it. I'm going to select it and open it because I think it has a great lesson at the very end and a good idea to use with students to make history come alive. Okay, here you can see, because of Columbus, what has changed. Imports and exports. So it takes a great idea of using food to relate history to students and to make it meaningful to them today. Here the students can go through the list and decide, do they eat any or use any of these items on a regular basis? What items do they like? What items do they wish were never exchanged? Great idea. It offers students a memorable way to relate to history with their stomach. You could even do taste tests. If students have never tried guava, try it. When I taught third grade years ago, we would celebrate Moldy Cheese Day on October 9th. You can find a day for most things now. Stratalogica would have been wonderful. It would have given us a way to map on the globe the different cheeses, where they came from, history, graph the number of students that liked the cheese and the number of students that didn't like the cheese. So I would have really enjoyed having Stratalogica when I taught third grade. Well, I hope you're now ready to go in and create a presentation. Today we're going to create a custom view because in order to make it a presentation, you'll just add more slides the same way we create this one. So choose New, Presentation. Then you're going to create a title and description. Remember, you can always change these later. For this custom view, I chose to take something that we've done for years and years, put a new twist on it by using Stratalogica. Current events. So the students can go in to a newspaper or onto a website, find a current event, and actually present by showing where this happened in the world. I chose in Greece the boat that capsized with 240 migrants aboard. The first thing that I'm going to do is I change the map view. So you definitely have those options in here too. You can go from 3D to 2D, but I chose to do a political relief map because I felt it had the information that I needed for this slide. On the right-hand side, you have several options. Here's the title, your description. Right now it's minimized, but you could expand it down with the arrow. You can also make this menu disappear if it's blocking part of your screen with these arrows here. Switch to display allows you to preview what your presentation will look like as it's playing. Import view is really neat. It allows you to import a custom view into your presentation. You can also add a new slide right here. Here you can copy a slide down. Any new slides will go underneath the slide that's selected. And you can delete a slide. The duration allows you to leave the screen on for a certain amount of time. Transitions between slides either slowly or quickly. And then as we saw in the RMS Titanic presentation, you can choose to display either your title or your description or both. All of the tools we will be using for this slide will be coming from the toolbox down here. Just to remind you, we have a drawing tool, the shapes and symbols, text, drop a pen, the eraser, settings, and a ruler. Today we're going to use the symbol. I dropped down this arrow to open different folders of symbols. I chose current events because it just happened to really work. I got the person and clicked onto the screen to add it to where I wanted to show the students where the boat was actually capsized. Now let's look at the pen tool. When you click the pen tool, you'll then click the screen, as it shows here, and it opens up an editing box. You can add a title, Why Would a Refugee Risk Death, and a description. I've asked the students to watch the clip, then write a paragraph for or against the choice of the refugees. They would have had to have a little background on why the refugees chose to escape. As a bonus, I've asked them, name another time in history when you've also seen people fleeing for safety. Then we're going to select styling. This is very important. You can change the color and size of your title and pin. Now that allows you to be able to see it, the pin, more easily. If I had chosen a blue pen, it may be harder to see, or an orange pen here. So I may want to change it so it has good contrast but shows up nicely. My favorite part is adding images and video. Here is where you'll paste the embed code into this box. You can choose an embed code from YouTube, Flickr, or Vimeo. I'm going to show you the embed code in a YouTube video. So I searched YouTube. I found a short clip that I wanted the students to see about my current event. I chose share here under the video, and then the embed code. Copied the code and pasted it into the box. I absolutely love this feature. Here it says, it tells where it's coming from, YouTube, and it says that it was added. There's no questioning later whether it's actually going to work. That is a wonderful feature for saving time. You can also remove the item here too, if you decide it wasn't the right one for you. Then you'll click Done, and your features are there. So you can see that the students can open the pen, or while the student is presenting, they could open the pen and discuss right on the map their current event. I also found that this pen is a little bit close to the word Greece. In settings down here, I have the label pop-up turned on. When you click this name, Greece, it pops up population and other information about Greece. It even says the name, which is a great feature for some of these words that you may not know how to pronounce. So I would definitely move my pen down a little bit so that it didn't interfere with that feature. Okay, there was one other thing I did want to mention to you. This triangle is a good help because it reminds you that you have not saved your work. So if you click Action, you can save it or save as your presentation. You can also send your presentation. I've got a webinar class made with Trace and Trinity. I can choose one of them or all of them to send the custom view to. Then I would click Send. In the Action menu, you can also find out who have you shared this presentation with. Maybe a student says, I didn't get it. Well, here you can tell them, yes, you did. You can also choose to share it to social media, email, or with a link. Here shows the Twitter share, Facebook, email. You'd simply type in the address. You can change the subject and menu and message if you need to. You also get a link code if you choose Other. This is nice because it's a nice short bit.ly code, which means that you could easily write it on your board. As the students walk in, they link to the presentation, and you could use it for morning classwork. Now, as I told you in the beginning, I really want you to take away a lot of lessons, ideas that you can go and use immediately. Stratalogica with presentations can be used in any subject, cross-curricular. You can do so much with this. So the first bullet, I thought it'd be great for chronicling journaling. A lot of people do this with their lessons, so students could become an immigrant traveling through Ellis Island. Start at the beginning and go through the trip, chronicling their journey at each point. Another great way, vocabulary. How wonderful would it be for the students to actually see and be able to point to the vocabulary word that they're talking about? So here I've chosen, you could do map terms, habitats, patriotic terms, landforms, lots of things. Use literature. Read Henry's Freedom Box. Have the students pick a place on Arc Street. I'm sure you could find a box for a symbol. Drop a pin. They can compare and contrast Henry's past and future life. Write a paragraph about the people that were involved in his travels through the Underground Railroad story. Another great one would be to choose a port or fort like El Morro in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Have the students think critically, what features help protect that area from invaders for so many years? Map, record distance, so science and math, of migration patterns of whales, bees, birds. I thought today, too, another great thing to do would be along that route, put the time periods that they are in that area. One of my favorites is this one, autobiography. The students could easily chronicle their life from birth to today. For every year, they have some important event that happened to them that has shaped who they are. You could also do the life of a famous person or author, or someone that has been through a time period in history that you're studying. I know that our civics classes in 8th grades do a president report. And the students usually create a PowerPoint and present to the class. Well, how about we put a map of the U.S., have students record their report, and embed it onto the map where the presidents grew up. It would be neat to include how where the president came from affected their choices in office. And then one of my all-time favorite books, Divergent, was set in Chicago. You could do a complete retelling of that story by using a map of Chicago. Well, I thank you for attending this webinar. Are there any questions?
Melissa, thanks so much for doing an outstanding job again this afternoon. I am Pam Gothard, Professional Learning Director for Nystrom Education, and I would be glad for you to reach out to me with any of your questions. Please email me at pgothard@socialstudies.com. And when you email, please include your school district and your state. I would love to hear from you. If there aren't any other comments or questions, I think that wraps it up for this afternoon.